When an evil nurse thinks the cameras are off by Kira TV, my bad, didn't mean to bomb your name. What's good? How you day going? Morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this video. I'm not gonna do a long intro, I'm not gonna talk your ears off here. I clearly can tell from the thumbnail that this monkey is about to result in murder though. But look, I ain't about to talk your ears off. Let's go ahead and check out this video. Yo, if you wanna check out the original video, link will be in the description below, but let's go. What the hell you looking at?
Before God and those assembled here, I solemnly pledge to adhere to the code of ethics of the nursing profession, to cooperate faithfully with the other members of the nursing team, and to carry out faithfully and to the best of my ability the instructions of the physician or the nurse who may be assigned to supervise my work. I will not do anything evil or malicious, and I will not knowingly give any harmful drug or assist in malpractice. I will not reveal any confidential information that may come to my knowledge in the course of my work, and I pledge myself to do all in my power to raise the standards and prestige of the practical nursing. My life be devoted to service and to the high ideals of the nursing profession. At 10:48 a.m. on the 10th of April 2018, a judge of the...
Real quick, is that like an oath that you have to, is that like something you have to adhere to when you jump in the field of being a nurse? I take it is. Oh snap.
At 10:48 a.m. on the 10th of April 2018, a judge of the Smith County, Texas court by the name of Jack Skeen Jr. sat in his chambers with a stack of papers in hand. At the very top of the first page was written warrant number JS 41018 FW1. The papers go on to explain alleged crimes with statements from expert medical professionals, depositions of law enforcement officers with over 30 years investigative experience, and evidence from employers. Jack Skeen Jr. had heard the sworn testimony of the detective in charge who had presented the case under oath this very morning in these very chambers, and so he put pen to paper, signing the warrant. To any peace officer of the state of Texas, you are hereby commanded to arrest William George Davis, a white male born on 02/03/1984. Just over a month earlier, on March 23, 2018, everything was normal. A day like any other for popular crowdfunding website GoFundMe. Campaigns appeared asking for money from all manner of people for any number of things. Surgery for a pet, help giving a sick loved one a nice last holiday, a creative idea that needs a few $100s to be finished, a nurse who was just suspended for a misunderstanding and needs help funding his legal defense to clear his name and continue his career. Not only his career, his passion and ability to provide for a wife and 2 young children. That was the campaign that William George created on this day. The title simply said, "Please help my family." The goal was $10,000. Davis explained that he'd been a registered nurse for the last 7 years, having recently completed his Master of Science as an acute care nurse practitioner. He described himself as hardworking, well-respected, compassionate, a high-spirited family man with a great sense of humour, and how he always goes above and beyond for his patients. He has a passion for cardiology, where he has enjoyed providing care for the patient population over the last 7 years. But unfortunately, right as everything was going great, right when he finally passed his MSN and became an acute care nurse practitioner, things took a turn for the worse. A stupid misunderstanding in 2017 had left the medical board no choice but to suspend his license temporarily, and now he needed $10,000 to try and keep his career alive. No additional information was provided from Davis in the GoFundMe campaign, except that his family was selling their home to downgrade during these tough times, and how he's humble enough to recognize he needs help to fight this battle. People on GoFundMe, whether strangers or people that knew of Davis, heard this plea, and over the next 10 or so days, 56 people came forward with over $5,000 of generosity. He was well on the way to reach the goal and be able to defend his name. That was, of course, until the truth came out, and the campaign was closed unexpectedly. You see, Davis wasn't entirely honest in the campaign.
What?
It was much worse than he had initially explained. Not only had the Texas Board of Nursing suspended his license on March 16th, just a week before the campaign was created, but he was also fired from the hospital he worked at for the last 7 years on February 15th, a month prior to the campaign and suspension of license. Had he explained the loss of employment as well as the suspension, perhaps he would have raised the money much quicker, though there is a good reason as to why Davis was not forthcoming with said information. The reason he was suspended was not for a misunderstanding. It was in accordance with section 301.455 in the Texas Occupations Code, which reads as follows: a Texas nurse's license shall be temporarily suspended or restricted on a determination by a majority of the board or a 3-member committee of board members designated by the board that, from the evidence or information presented, the continued practice of the nurse would constitute a continuing and imminent threat to the public welfare. Davis was, by this suspension, deemed to be an imminent threat to public welfare should he continue to be allowed near people whom he was trusted to care for. To everyone around Davis, this was all just a misunderstanding, as he had explained. To people in the hospital, they knew something was wrong. Seriously wrong. On January 25th, 2018, in the early hours of...
And I can see both sides happening that way because, hey, been there before. When you're related to this damn monster or you're associated with him, yeah, of course you want to see the good in this person. So I look past it like, well, I don't know, yeah, maybe they are tripping, maybe you are right, whatever. Who knows? A good amount of time, man, they are right. Like, yeah, no, it was some BS that happened. But we all got those. Maybe you don't. Maybe you got a perfect family. But you all got those one around you where it's like, yeah, but no, I ain't gonna lie, doggy bone, you definitely the wrong one here. But shit, let's just see what he did here. And I'm wondering, like, was it just something where it was like, all right, something happened, it's like, nah, we ain't like that, gotta let it go. Boom, don't know to what extreme it was because I don't know what fully happened yet. Or was it like a bunch of little things that was just adding up? Like, all right, you know what, dog? Too many people reporting you, too much XYZ. I don't know, I'm gonna let the story finish, dog. At least so far, though, because from the thumbnail, we saw that it was MURDER. I think I said it at the beginning anyway, whatever, right? Don't want to say for you too. But either way it go, though, I'm taking right now, though, since he's not arrested or nothing, it's like, yeah, you just out of here, whatever. I don't think that part happened yet. So that's why I was feeling like, was it, man, you know what I was talking about, dog.
To be allowed near people whom he was trusted to care for. To everyone around Davis, this was all just a misunderstanding, as he had explained. To people in the hospital, they knew something was wrong. Seriously wrong. On January 25th, 2018, in the early hours of the morning, a nurse in the intensive care unit saw Davis enter the room of a patient he was not designated to care for. She also saw him leave shortly after. This patient was recovering well from cardiovascular surgery. That was until things took a turn for the worse and severe complications arose. Davis showed up 5 minutes later to try and help, but the damage was already done. Coincidentally, the complications occurred not long after Davis had been seen leaving the room, which prompted the nurse who saw him to report the behaviour to higher-ups immediately. I was concerned enough to know that I had a gut feeling. That told me something was wrong from a nursing practice perspective. The nurse in question had such a bad feeling about Davis, in fact, that she didn't want something bad to happen to another patient during Davis' upcoming night shift. The hospital agreed and removed Davis from the floor immediately. This included suspension with pay while they investigated what exactly had happened. During the investigation, there was meetings held between the hospital, witnesses, and Davis himself, at which point he was expected to explain why exactly he went into the patient's room at this time. According to Davis, he was just there to silence an IV pump, which was beeping, making noise. He thought this would be a good deed for the other nurses who were perhaps busy doing other things. Later, he changed his story that he was flushing blood from the line. Usually, if you were to interact with a patient in any way, you would tell others what you did and why. Not doing so is completely unacceptable. A nurse of 7 years would know this. During email exchanges at a later date, Davis claimed he didn't know whether the issues the patient had were caused by his actions, but that he would never do so knowingly. Through the investigation, security footage was being reviewed, which showed he was indeed the last person to interact with the recovering patient before the tragic and immediate decline. 21 days of paid suspension later, the hospital fired Davis for, quote, falsification of care events and his unethical practice related to failure to disclose interventions. That, however, was just the beginning. This was not the first time that something like this had occurred. In fact, while they were investigating, they noticed a sickening, horrific trend. An eerily similar event had occurred not once, not twice, a total of 7 times in the past 6 months. Always late at night, between the hours of 11 p.m. and 4:40 a.m., patients that were recovering in intensive care, who often were recovering very well, took sudden, sharp declines, their symptoms being like that of a sudden stroke. This was of significant concern to the hospital as it represented a statistic.
Oh, let me go back a bit because I was trying to read some of these ones. Fuck. Man, that's what's crazy because you just never know what people's intentions are, dog. And it's scary as hell knowing, because yes, you find out it can come from the people who you think are just freaking who are superheroes on this planet. I ain't gonna lie to you, but the fact that they just be bundled in though sometime, where it's like, oh shit, you should not be here. Back on track, whatever. It's just scary to know like someone of that status would do this to someone. Or it's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you're legit supposed to be the help. Like, I wouldn't dare go work at a daycare because I know I'm not patient at all with kids. I ain't got it, man. Fuck it. We went to the end. We'll talk shit at the end, dog.
Always late at night between the hours of 11 p.m. and 4:40 a.m. Patients that were recovering in intensive care, who often were recovering very well, took sudden, sharp declines, their symptoms being like that of a sudden stroke. This was of significant concern to the hospital as it represented a statistical anomaly, but it wasn't until this investigation that they could narrow down exactly why this was happening. Davis was present on the ward for every single event. Of these 7 cases investigated, 2 of the patients at the time were deceased. 5 of them were severely injured. Upon discovery of this connection, the hospital immediately contacted the police and presented their findings, which then was presented to other health experts to put forward written testimony about what they thought was happening. Medical records and autopsies indicated that in all cases, there was significant air within the brain of each patient. This information was put together in a document that was then presented to Jack Skeen Jr., the 241st District Court Judge, who signed off on the arrest warrant of one William George Davis, April 10th, 2018. He was arrested shortly after and held on a $2 million bond until trial, a trial that was pushed back repeatedly until it commenced proper on September 28th, 2021. Davis pled not guilty to the charges. The defense his attorney presented claimed that the hospital was in the wrong and they were using Davis as a scapegoat simply because he was present at each and every occurrence. During the trial, many testified against Davis, including those of the victims' families and one of the victims themselves, who aside from a bad heart prior to surgery was perfectly healthy, but now had left-sided weakness, lost vision, difficulty walking, and required assisted living. What the prosecution argued using the testimony from multiple experts was that William George Davis, while working in the intensive care unit as a nurse charged with the care of patients, was entering the rooms of those recovering from surgery and injecting them with air, which then travelled to the brain, causing catastrophic consequences. According to testimony from Agent John Day of the United States Secret Service, in 2018, about a month before he was arrested, Davis used his laptop to Google search list of serial killers by number of victims. Agent Day was responsible for analysing Davis' laptop, and other such searches were discovered in the process, such as Mother Frances Hospital, which is where he worked, and Mother Frances Hospital investigating possible serial killer, which occurred on March 16, 2018, before the detectives and hospital had fully put together his involvement in the deaths and the harm of the 7 patients. The laptop was also used to read articles about serial killers on multiple different occasions. At the end of the trial, Davis was found guilty of killing John Lafferty, Ronald Clark, Christopher Greenaway, and Joseph Kalina. He was also accused of killing Perry Frank, James Blanks, and James Sanderson, as well as injuring 5 other patients, though there was difficulty in proving the others, so it stood with the original 4. After conviction, prosecutors pushed for the death penalty, which the state of Texas as well as 24 other states still carry. During sentencing, prosecutors played a voice recording of Davis calling his ex-wife from jail.
I think in Huntsville too, because I think I lived right by the unit that did it as well too at one point, like legit right by it, like could look out the window and see that more. I think in Huntsville.
Which the state of Texas as well as 24 other states still carry. During sentencing, prosecutors played a voice recording of Davis calling his ex-wife from jail, in which Davis confessed to her he would purposefully hurt patients in the ICU, intensive care unit, in order to prolong their time in the hospital. He did this so there were more hours of overtime for him to work, and therefore to earn more money. He was hurting vulnerable people under his care.
Just earning more money off of people paying. And it's crazy because I'm trying not to go there because I I hate to take it there. We gotta talk about it every time it come up, man. Last year, lost my mom in the ICU, man, and it was just like the entire time. Don't get me wrong. Look, my mind go there, dog. The shit happen when you lose someone close to you. It's like sometimes my mind like, well, what if they did it? What if they didn't do it, but they didn't try their best? What if they did try their best, which I do believe they really did, and it just didn't work out that way? What if this didn't happen? What if that didn't happen? Because it's just bullshit. Like I don't know what's going on with this loved one. I can't see what's going on with this loved one, but I just gotta accept I gotta accept what I was told. That's it. That's all you get, man. Ah, that shit crazy, dog. Man, it was so crazy, dog. Every time we went to FaceTime, they set up like a time for us and everything. Like, yeah, you can FaceTime at this time. Whoop, whoop. So of course, man, me and my siblings, family, everybody, we on standby because you waiting on this. This is everything. This is the only thing you think about all day when you know someone is in there that's close to you that you love, whatever. So that's it. So we waiting on it. So they're like, yeah, you can do it at 5 p.m. We're gonna have it. Boom, boom, boom. Boy, they be like 6 p.m. run around, 7 p.m. come around, and you like, man, what's going on? Nobody's answering the phone, they ain't give you nothing back. And then finally you get in touch with them. It'll be like sometime it'll be like next day. The shit be trippy, dog. But finally you get in touch with them, man. It'll be like 4 or 5 hours past. So you be worried, like I don't know what my mind and go like, oh, some shit being covered up. What was really going on? What was really going on? Did they hit you with an excuse? But at that point, honestly, you don't want to think like that. Like, I don't want to feel like they were doing anything wrong. Whatever what they said went down. Look, maybe that did happen. I'm just ready to do what we got to do with it, right? And then we a FaceTimer, dog. And when we did, when I say the amount of shit coming out of her face looks fucking unhuman. I'm not gonna lie to you, like something from a movie, dog. Trip me the hell out, man. I was like, man, I just want to know what's going on. I never understood. I say that to say this. Let me get back to the video. I say that to say this, man. I don't understand why, and if you work in this field, maybe it's something you can point out that'll make more sense. But I just never understood why, if there's a loved one in this situation, why there's not anything where it's like, all right, there's a camera in this person's room, but only XYZ have access to it. There's an access code. Because even when we FaceTime, it was like codes and shit. They have to send us all this shit, whatever. I was like, why that's not a thing where it's like, yeah, the family or someone close or anyone that's written off on somewhere, the person approved. I don't know. Shit, I don't know how to work the shit out. It ain't my damn actual law. But regardless, dog, why it's nothing for the family to be able to just look in and see and hear? Like, because I mean, you ain't got nothing to worry about. We ain't doing nothing wrong. Everybody got to do their job anyway. You're just doing your job, whatever. If some shit goes sour, some shit goes sour. And who knows, maybe that can trip you out, drive you crazy, like you just, because you know damn well all day you're going to be sitting there watching that shit if you can see what's going on with your loved one there. That shit will drive you crazy as well, too. So it definitely going to be, look, it's the yin and the yang, dog. You got to take the good with the bad. No matter what I say here, there's always going to be some bad on the other side of it, man. All right, let's get back to this video, man. But legit, just playing with people's lives like that, sending air into them. Like, this is people's family, dog. That's crazy as fuck.
In the hospital, he did this so there were more hours of overtime for him to work and therefore to earn more money. He was hurting vulnerable people under his care to make money. The Hippocratic Oath refers to an oath of ethics historically taken by physicians, coming from one of the most widely known Greek medical texts, and requiring a new physician to swear by a number of healing gods to uphold certain standards. I will use my power to help the sick to the best of my ability and judgment. I will abstain from harming or wronging any man by it. This is typically taken by doctors, but for nurses there exists a slightly modified version referred to as the Nightingale Pledge, named in honour of Florence Nightingale and has existed since 1893. Before God and those assembled here, I solemnly pledge to adhere to the code of ethics of the nursing profession, to cooperate faithfully with the other members of the nursing team, and to carry out faithfully and to the best of my ability the instructions of the physician or the nurse who may be assigned to supervise my work. I will not do anything evil or malicious. I will not knowingly give any harmful drug or assist in malpractice. I will not reveal any confidential information that may come to my knowledge in the course of my work, and I pledge myself to do all in my power to raise the standards and prestige of the practical nursing. My life be devoted to service and the high ideals of the nursing profession. William George Davis broke his oath. He targeted people who were entrusted to the care of the medical institution he swore to assist, patients that were under the trusted care of his colleagues. He did so without cause, ending lives and harming families beyond words, entirely for the sickness in his mind.
Damn. But look, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I ain't gonna do too much talking. We already did a good hefty amount of talking at the a little bit ago, man. Definitely rest in peace to all those victims. That shit was effed up, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Enjoy my day. You do the same thing. Enjoy your day, morning, evening, night when you're watching this video, dog. But I'm out.